Thank you for always keeping it tuned to your love music, love live station. Smooth 98.1. It's 31 minutes past 7 a.m. on a feel good Friday. Literally a good Friday morning. This is the Smooth Breakfast. Yours truly is Ayokunmi Kikiriakwa. And it's that time to get into Freshly Pressed, where we take a look at the stories making the headlines in the national dailies across Nigeria. We get analysis, and you also get to share your thoughts, your opinions on the issues that we'll be talking about this morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm joined on a Good Friday morning by AB Bozimo and, of course, Joseph Obari. Good morning to you, gentlemen. Great to have you on a feel good Good Friday morning.
Good morning, Ayo. Happy Easter to you and all of the wonderful listeners. And good morning, Sir Joseph. Great to
Good
see you.
morning, Debbie. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, listeners. It's good to be here again, and happy Easter in advance to everybody.
Happy Easter to you as well. People are taking it easy today, but we are here doing the Lord's work and bringing the necessary information to the listening pleasure of everyone who is out there. We enjoy what we do. That is why we are here doing what we do. All right, AB, let's get into the nitty gritty of the matter. We're going to start in the Punch newspaper. This is kind of like a follow up on the story we took on the show yesterday with Mr. T and Bumi as well. It has to do with power matters. Now, the federal government has revealed plans to construct modular solar power plants with a combined capacity of 1,900 megawatts for the 19 northern states as part of efforts to boost renewable energy adoption and expand the national grid. It's also disclosed its target to generate and distribute about 8,000 megawatts of electricity before the end of President Bola Tinubu's first term in office in 2027. All this was mentioned by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, during the sixth edition of the 2025 Ministerial Press Briefing Series held on Thursday in Abuja. This is definitely good stuff, AB. This is, like I said, a continuation of the positive news that we shared yesterday when we talked about Lagos State and the REA putting together floating solar panels. Now, the FG is putting this together for the 19 northern states. These are the sort of things that we love to see, advancement moving forward.
This is indeed a very encouraging story, considering the parlous state of energy in the country. And I'm happy to see that this arose in the context of some stories recently where some vandals actually attacked transmission lines. And so the 19 northern state governors asked for diversification of energy to improve the electricity supply, because it was clear that that was something that can be targeted. So by trying to distribute solar power into each of the states, there is at least that possibility that you have less of a centralized target for vandals and terrorists to attack, and that should help hopefully improve power availability. I completely agree that the North is blessed with abundant sunlight, and so with some introspection and some execution, there should be better power available. However, I remember that at the federal level, President Tinubu actually promulgated or proposed, and I think was passed as a law that said every state should go ahead and provide its own power. So I'm curious about how this story starts with the federal government is revealing plans. Where are the state governments or governors in this? Nothing wrong again with going ahead to add to the capacity, but it shocked me that the governors, after these things happened, instead of them to be revealing their plans, they all ran to the federal government again. I think there's something missing in the holistic thinking about power. But the bottom line is that every extra megawatt goes far. Like the minister said, if in the past 40 odd years, every administration had just tried to target a single megawatt, just 1,000 watts of energy every 12 months, by now we would have been at 40,000 megawatts. So truly, it's unconscionable that previous governments have not targeted even minor improvements like that. So I am encouraged by the fact that they are targeting just 100 megawatts per state. coming to a total of 1,900 megawatts. If we inch along, if we inch forward like this, over time, we will get to a much better place. So this is, in my view, the kind of story you like to wake up to hear. This is the kind of story that gives you hope that somewhere in the heights of leadership, there are a few people actually thinking beyond the next election to consider the next generation. I like the idea. They're targeting 8,000 megawatts at the end of the president's current term. Okay, that you could call modest, but I think that'll be more than the 4,100 that they met when they came in. And definitely, they are even announcing that they have gone up from that 4,100 to about 5,700 in the last quarter of 2025. So this is progress in the right direction. I'm encouraged. I just want them to do more about getting the terrorists who are always attacking transmission lines. And I noticed how there was no power in Bielsa for 3 to 4 months. In fact, in a year, there's been 7 months of no power in Bielsa. In the north, it took them exactly 1 month to fix it. There's a disparity there that must be addressed. But good news, kudos to the government. I just want to see the state governors also stepping up and not just going to sit down at Nigerian Governors Forum meeting and collectively with all the southern governors spending £1 billion on tea and crumpets.
Indeed, the sort of things that we definitely love to see. And we really hope that the follow-up on this actually translates to the end game when all is said and done. The WhatsApp number to send your messages to remains 0809-444-0981. You can also join us on YouTube where we're streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. You can leave your comments in the chat box. I will take them as we get along on the show. So, Joseph, AB was alluding to those terrorists that, attack power installations and so on and so forth. Now, we're going to talk about security matters. Now, this is an issue that has been raging very recently, but we need to once again bring it to the fore. We're stepping into the Guardian here. And it says that security operatives are aware of the identities and locations of those behind the recent wave of deadly attacks in Plateau State. That's according to a House of Representatives member, Daniel Asama, who described the mayhem as genocide. Meanwhile, Nigerian Governors Forum, the NGF, has condoled with Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau, saying the attacks and killings in the state were unfortunate and unwarranted. On another hand, the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, aka Huriwa, on its part, appealed to the National Assembly to impeach President Bola Tinubu over these killings. I don't know how that's going to happen. But this particular sentiment that the security operatives know the identities of these people, this was alluded to because we talked about this last week when, I think last week, Thursday, if I remember correctly, where it was said that the people in the communities said they know some of these people who came to attack them. They didn't hide, they didn't cover their faces, anything. They reported to the police and security operatives. Nothing was done. That's ridiculous in itself.
Well, it's not the first time that this kind of statements have been made by people, and even ordinary Nigerians have said that our government has not been sincere in tackling insecurity, especially in the Middle Belt. And what went on in the 8 years of Buhari's government was simply just alarming, because it seemed like by the body language of the president, he was not interested in tackling the insecurity in the Middle Belt and even the Northeast. So if the excuse for Buhari was that he had an interest in what was going on there, what's the excuse for this administration? Or as we're told, it's just a continuation of what has been happening. So what's going on in the Middle Belt is really alarming. It's really, really alarming. When the last incident in Plateau State, the people try to explain it away by saying, oh, it's herders, farmers, a clash, and so on. But it's maintained a consistent pattern. I spoke with somebody from the area 2 days ago, and he told me that the people who are doing this are known. It's just echoing what the legislator is saying. You know, the people who know, when they know the people, he's from there. He says community was affected. So if it is that obvious, means that there is no political will to deal with the situation. It was the trend also in southern Kaduna, where the people simply were harassed, attacked, killed, maimed in their own homes by a group of people who are just interested in taking the land over from them. And that's simply the truth there. It's simply some people are interested in taking over land that doesn't belong to them, and they're using violence. And let's not get to the point where these people are forced to protect themselves by arming themselves in order to repel these attacks. Then it will become uncontrollable. And ironically, it is then the government becomes active as to try to prevent people to defend themselves, because they'll be using arms to do so. And you will have swift arrest of people and so on and so forth. So these are clear cases of injustice in various ramifications, and it's unfair, it's inhuman, you know, to behave as if human life doesn't matter. You know, you cannot lose 100 people, and it's as if it's business as usual. Nothing happens, and people just come. This script has been written and played before. People are killed, people make condolences, pay condolence visits, speak words, make some political and not acceptable noises, and then we move on. And then it happens again, and it happens again. Some we don't even get to hear. You go to Benue, it's the same story. So when you have a nation where its leadership is insensitive, deaf, uninterested in the people, this is what happens. Because whatever it is, that's the root cause of this. Government has got the capacity to deal with it.
Right.
It's got the capacity to do it. Not doing it simply means they don't have the political will to do it. And that's been lacking for the past 9 or some years now. You know, the government has not shown any commitment to dealing with what's going on in terms of security.
Right.
And it's that the security agencies are compromised, or they are watching the government and least looking at the body language of the leadership.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts, Joseph. AB, Joseph said something about the body language of the government. We'll take a story that speaks a whole lot to body language in a second, but I just need to get your perspective on something. Now, what's been going on in Benue, in Plateau State, in some other areas in Nigeria has been described as a genocide. Now, throughout history, we've seen different situations or different countries where genocide has been on the table. We'll talk about your Sri Lankas, your Chechnyas, your Rwandas, and so on and so forth. How very important is it that Nigeria arrests this sort of trends, looking at how things have played out in those other countries and where it is that we want to go or hope to go as a nation?
Like Joseph and every other commentator of goodwill has said, if this was something that the government sought to stop, we would see in the body language. I'm not suggesting for a minute that you can put a dead stop to issues like this. No, no, no. There are countries where Afghanistan, they had war for over 20 years. So I'm not saying they can stop, but you could see the efforts in place and you could see the results gradually. For us to be sitting in a country where over 100 people have been killed in the past 1, 2, 3 weeks, and nothing except, I think, Egbetokun, the esteemed IG of police yesterday, yes, the esteemed IG of police told us yesterday he would surprise the assailants. And I, in my opinion, said he will surprise me as a Nigerian if he actually does anything good and different. Because I'm tired of talk. I expected the way that they went after the criminals who killed soldiers in Delta State recently, about a year ago, and they got people and they started putting them on trial, is how I expect them to go after the criminals who murder Nigerians in other parts of the country. If not, there's a two-tiered system of injustice, and it is being supported, perpetrated, and even expanded by those in authority. So yes, it is possible to curtail this to a very large extent. These people are not ghosts. They don't appear and disappear. No, they cannot use that hand we see in Nigerian movies where you just raise your hand and you disappear. They move either on foot, on motorcycles, etc. They come from point A, they go to point B, maim, kill, destroy, and go back. That movement, if I'm to move in this country with a phone without a receipt, police will stop me, pull over the car, start asking me questions. Traveling from Lagos recently, they were stopping the vehicle looking for rice. That is what the police were doing rather than looking for criminals. In fact, there were 600 police checkpoints on the road when there are no police in these areas where people are being murdered. So please, Kayode to sir, deploy your people to do the right thing and stop making them a nuisance on the roads where people are traveling safely and simply.
All right, let's get into the Daily Trust. AB, I'm staying with you on this particular one, and has to do with President Bola Tinubu extending his stay in Europe. Now, this development comes amidst criticisms by the main opposition party, that's the PDP, and other opposition leaders who have questioned his absence from the country at a time when it's witnessing crisis in different parts. Now, just to give a backdrop here, on April 2nd, President Tinubu departed Abuja for France on a working visit, as was stated by the presidency. It was supposed to last for about 2 weeks, and 2 weeks 2 weeks actually elapsed 2 days ago. But it's been said he has extended this working visit to continue out there in France. We don't know exactly how long the working visit is going to be extended by, and so on and so forth. But just picking up on what Joseph said earlier about the body language of the the government, the administration. I mean, looking at what's been going on in the country right now, AB, the president extending his visit to France. Does that make any sense? Bearing in mind that in many other climes, many other situations where a country has some issues and all that, their president, their governments, they come back, they rush back to deal with issues. Now, no one is saying, oh, maybe if he's here, things will change overnight. But shouldn't the head of the government be here right now, bearing in mind what's going on?
I want to start by saying, first of all, if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GSCR, and all the other CRs was inside Nigeria, let's be clear that he would not be the person who would go to the front line to tackle the criminality. So that is fair. I also want to go further and say that when you hear opposition politicians raising issues, that could be understood from multiple perspectives. Apart from the issue at hand, it is part of their quote unquote job to be, sometimes critical of the president and sometimes point out ways that the president can do things differently. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that the opposition politicians will say what they say. And also, I want to make it clear that I don't expect the president, any president indeed, to be at the front line tackling criminals. That being said, it is not about what the politician says, about what I, Ebi Bozimo, say, feel, and believe. Number one, it is an utter irresponsible dereliction of duty for a president to get up and leave his country to claim he's going to go and do a working visit for over 2 weeks. This thing started with a 2-week visit. Now, Bayo Ononuga has said it is approximately 2 weeks. That is how they use mendacity to explain the irresponsible. The president has gone for that length of time, claiming that that is going to do a working visit, while there only one person, a U.S. envoy, has visited him for 2 weeks. They were, first of all, very quick to say it was not a medical visit. Who asked them? Who suspected that? Why did they feel that was an important thing to announce? Then he has gone to the France. He has been sitting there, literally doing no official activity. They tell us he's in touch with everybody. He could be in touch with everybody in Aso Rock. He could be in touch with everybody in what's the name of that place in Baba, the place that has horns and cows, Obudu. Keep in
Obudu.
touch with anybody anywhere in Nigeria. Instead, he chooses this France that he has gone to 50,000 times since he became a president. I believe, I'm saying to my full chest, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in this instance is demonstrating his lack of interest and arguably his lack of competence to be president at this material moment in Nigeria's history. This does not take away from the earlier story where I praised the activities concerning electricity. But when your people are dying and bleeding, you have absolutely no business sitting down like a refugee in France. You are wasting time, you are wasting money, and you are dancing on the graves of Nigerians. The president should come back. And I don't care what Atiku said or what Peter Obi said. It is me saying this. He's supposed to be the president of this country. This is my country. He's supposed to be serving me. He is not serving my interest by sitting in France. And so I don't care who else said it. This is my strong feeling. The president is being negligent. He is demonstrating dereliction of duty and should come back immediately. He has no business in front. And now they're extending it by a few days to Easter. I'll be practical. If I too were far away and a public holiday was coming, I too might extend it. I'm not a president. Nobody pays me to rule over a country. And if I have more important things to do, I would not extend it. So I believe the president has been extremely irresponsible in this moment in time. I didn't stutter.
Sadly, if I may add to this, is that we can say all we want to say, but we're dealing with people who are just deaf and insensitive to Nigeria's well-being, and they demonstrate it over and over again. Those who feel that we're just being critical may have the opinion, they hold the opinion, but the simple truth is that these leaders are deaf and insensitive to the interest and the needs of this country. Because it's just shocking when you have official justification for this kind of recklessness that we are seeing. It costs money for our president to stay even 2 days outside the country.
Right.
It costs money. Let's even look at it from the economic point of view. No wise government does spend money when they don't have in the manner in which we do. And ever again, it keeps happening. It happened throughout Buhari's time. We made all calls, so we said everything we wanted. The jobs were impervious. They were not touched. Nothing you say moves them. So you're dealing with deaf people, the deaf and the insensitive. And so you will say everything you want to say. At the end of the day, they do whatever they want to do. Opposition may say, Clive Blue Mother, do whatever. At the end of the day, they just ignore you. They just do whatever they want to do. That's what's been happening. That's what's been happening. You can't be losing. You can't lose 100 lives in your country, and you are sitting down. You're praising your performance.
You're doing remote work.
Yeah. So it just speaks volumes of what kind of leaders we have.
Oh my goodness, remote work. Let me take a few messages before I come back to you, Joseph. This is Idimapusa and Surulere says, the presidency said that Mr. President is working from faraway France while his citizens are being killed in Benue and Plateau states. Is that not funny? What president does that? Other presidents would leave whatever they're doing abroad to come back home to attend to tragic occurrences. Well,
yeah, he met with one low-level government official from United States. That's a working visit.
Unless of course, AB, unless of course the president is not in a position to come back physically or otherwise. I mean, because I see no other reason why he would not be back in the country. I mean, apart from not caring or being tone deaf.
Again, since they said he is perfectly working, I will take them at face value and I will criticize based on what they said. I have no evidence to the contrary.
Barrister Danokuda says it's very obvious that the present and past leadership of this country are not interested in tackling security challenges in the north. They all lack the political, and not only in the north, all over the country really, because it's nationwide at this point in time. They all lack the political will to do so. All right, thank you for sharing your thoughts there. Let me jump back in, still talking about matters that deal with security, but in another way entirely. And I'm coming to you with this one. Joseph, This has to do with suspended senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Duagan. Now, on Thursday, she raised the alarm over an attack by suspected gunmen on her family home in Kogi State. And she called on the Inspector General of Police to reinstate her withdrawn security aids. Um, just very, very quickly on this one, we know how this has played out recently since March the 6th or thereabouts, where she was suspended and her security were taken away. She had even gone as far as accusing or saying that Senate President Godswill Akpabio, former Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello, were trying to get her killed, and those individuals have actually, should I say, petitioned the police to arrest her and prosecute her for defamation. But this was bound to happen, bearing in mind her security was taken away. Or is there something else at play here?
Well, we can never know until we have all the facts. But if anybody is thinking logically, it is interesting that you have a senator, a high-profile senator as she has become, who has faced a whole lot of challenges even when she was aspiring to political office from her home state. And because you want to punish her for so-called misconduct, you go as far as stripping her of protection. Because I don't see how taking away her protection has got anything to do with your so-called discipline if you don't intend to make her vulnerable to attack. So the correlation is there. So you take away protection from her, official protection from her, and make her vulnerable. For what purpose? So that she can be taken out. It's just a logical thinking. I'm thinking it has a logic. What's your aim in saying that security should be withdrawn from her during the period of her suspension? Has she ceased to be a senator? Because what that committee did was to say that they can actually undo the will of the people who elected her to office. By saying she cannot claim she cannot say she's a senator, she cannot present herself as a senator. So all of that is working to a script. So you deliberately do that, you take away protection. When you take away protection from somebody, what is it? You're creating vulnerability from that person. Vulnerability to be attacked. So she can be attacked by anybody. It's making her a sitting dog. That's what it is you're doing. Now we have had a situation where people go to our family home in Kogi State, Hima, and then try to attack them, and because of private security and was the civil defense were able to repel such attack. So supposing anything happens there, and she was there, and it happened, what would they say? What would this government say? Because I would be concerned, even as if I'm the IG of police, I'll be concerned that we have a senator in the midst, in a storm like this, and she's left without official protection. It's unfortunate that this kind of thing is happening right before our eyes, under our noses, in a so-called civilized country. Into the 21st century, this kind of thing is happening. Brazen authoritarianism and suppression of the voice of somebody who is trying to defend what is right, what she feels is right. So it's unfortunate. Let us pray that nothing happens to this senator, because it will be a very, very dark spot on the records of this government.
All right. Abi, you have a word to say before we wrap up on the show?
I mean, I concur. I concur with what Joseph said, but when we talk of dark spots, we're living in one dark spot right now. A dark spot of a presidential negligence and absence from office. Yes, he's in office by election, but he's not seen, he's not present. So we're living in a dark spot right now. It will just be yet another dark spot, unfortunately, in Nigeria's political history. And I don't have confidence that the police will be able to uncover the killers, because the police can only uncover, they only get actionable intelligence just before peaceful protests. They have no other actionable intelligence that has ever been deployed to any good use in the interest of the Nigerian people.
All right, let me take your messages. Tony Marine Beach says successive administrations have had some kind of interest that wouldn't let them tackle headlong the insecurity in the Middle Belt. We all know what's going on there unless we want to pretend. You can see the audacity with which these crimes are perpetrated, indicating the availability of a strong backing for the perpetrators. Open grazing is the tunnel for this crime. Talk about scrapping it for ranching, and some highly placed persons will come for you. In the same country, a governor was attacked and somebody owned up and said, it was a mistake we made. You'd be a dead man now. And nobody arrested him. Today, the president said that the perpetrators are blah, blah, blah. They are known. He should make good his promise. It's time we renegotiate our existence as a country. Olufemi says President Tinubu is enjoying champagne and caviar in France. He doesn't give a hoot about the killings in various parts of Nigeria. Babatunde Alao says, on power generation, kudos to the federal government. On security, shame on the federal government in one breath. Condolence visit is the highest the federal government has done on insecurity. The IG will always assure that the known culprits will be brought to book. It has become rhetoric. Proper devolution of power and state policing is just a simple forward move, but I doubt it can be done. All right, thank you, Babatunde, for that message. Gilbert Musa in Festac says, on the attempt to increase megawatts of electricity, this is commendable, but more importantly, we should investigate the reason that previous attempts failed in the past so we don't go around in circles. On the Plateau Mayhem, we should investigate the underlying cause, which may not be connected with the 1994 Jos riots over claim to ownership of Jos North local government. And Tony Nikeja says, African presidents hardly serve the interests of people they claim voted them into office. These are traditional rulers promoted by the state as commander-in-chiefs. All they expect from their people is to prostrate each time they make rare appearances. The rest of their time is to boast of how they are welcomed by their subjects in foreign lands, welcome new wives, and get briefs on the next move of their enemies. All right. We need to call it a morning. Thank you for all the messages, and thank you, AB and Joseph, for making it a very feel-good Good Friday this morning. Much appreciated.
I apologize. The connection was abysmal at the end of the show, so I really didn't hear the messages, but I wish everybody a very good Easter. And let's all be reminded of the sacrifice in the Bible of Christ for those who believe.
Well, I wish everybody a wonderful Easter weekend, and please stay safe. Ayo, pleasure being here again. I'd be nice to see you again. Thanks very much, everybody.
All righty. Thank you for being a part of Freshly Pressed this morning. The Smooth Breakfast kicks on. Don't forget, 8:15, it's all about the locker room sporting action. Europa League and Europa Conference League, the bonkers game that came up last night. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere. All right. Yes,
all
sir.
right, guys.
Ayo.